Hey guys, what's up? It is Kylie, Dean, and Jamie coming at you live from all over the world. And today I am in probably one of the best pubs in Nelson, BC. It's called the Lion's Head Pub. And it's actually modeled after jolly old England. So here's a little look of it. It's pretty sweet. It has like a huge patio outside, and it's like they got the best chicken wings on the planet, and like tons of beers, and it's just like it's amazing. So this is where I am right now at the moment, and actually catching up. I am officially out of my house as of Friday. I handed over the keys, so freedom. And then I forgot that Monday morning I had an appointment to take care of my new home, my van. It has to get a new exhaust because she's a little rough. And so it was like super hectic. I had to like rush to get here and drop the van off, and then I had to come and meet you guys. So I like rode my bike over to the pub, and now I'm chilling here, and this is life. So this is a little catch up of where I'm at. But glad I made it to be able to talk with you guys.
It's a bit early to be drinking vodka, isn't it? You're not having it with your cornflakes.
Oh yeah, no. This is my vodka. I got the fruit. I got the fruit on top.
Wow.
I love the fact that as soon as he gets out his house, the first place he goes to is a pub. And I'm going to say, Dean, it's because he so wants to see us so badly. And he has so much fun hanging out with us that he just went to the first thing that reminded him of us. I mean, that's what I'm thinking.
Strippers. Are the strippers open this early?
Not here. It's only noon. Actually, when I was going to school, we used to go to the strippers for lunch. They had a buffet at the strippers, so you could get a buffet, sit down, watch the girls do their thing. True story.
Wow.
I think we had very different schooling experiences.
Cool. Lucky. Did any of the kids like choke on their chicken bones?
Yeah, there was lots of choking on the chicken bones, but yeah, it wasn't like grade school. It was like college level school. Any of the kids aren't allowed in strip clubs here. Dean, how old do you have to be, Dean?
I wouldn't know. I've never been to one.
He's just hiding his membership card.
Yeah. Oh, I just put that on my desk. Didn't see that. I think it's 18, isn't it? It must be 18.
Guys, do we want to talk about and share some really exciting news that we've had this week? Well, last week, but we announced it this week.
Yeah.
Give it, Sally.
Drum roll. So we are officially the Threedom Coaches Limited. We're a company, baby.
Amazing, huh? Incredible.
Like I'm like an international business owner. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, you are.
What was that first feeling when you saw the certificate, Jane?
What was my first thought?
Mm-hmm.
That was my first thought. I'm like international man of mystery. I can put that on my resume. I'm like Austin Powers now with you guys. It's so wicked.
Yeah, and Kylie, because you're the one that went through with the process, so it happened very quick. Yeah.
Super quick. Yeah. And then what felt even better is when this arrived and got company card.
Company cards.
Yes.
And the boys have trusted me with it. I was going to say the boys have trusted me with it. So
what are you going to buy?
That's exciting.
What's going to be our first purchase?
What's going to be our first purchase? I mean, we've kind of already made a few.
That's true. Not on that though, right?
Not on that. No. We haven't actually used the card yet.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you fancy? I mean, should we get some merchandise? Like some business cards or some like t-shirt? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd like a vest.
Like a string one?
Yeah, a string vest.
I'm still saying the Lambo. I just like a Lambo, please, Kylie. Just ship it over on a boat.
Maybe we should ask the guys watching, if we were to make some merchandise, if we were to make some t-shirts, some hoodies, would you buy them? If you would,
Yeah.
put like a 1 in the comments below.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or a little t-shirt.
Yeah. I think it looks sleek. Like a nice white T-shirt with those colors are so awesome. I love the logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd
I
quite
think
like
so
some
much
teals going on, like a nice bright teal t-shirt with the logo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Navy. I think it looked
some,
good on navy.
you got to get some nice fitting ones, like the women's ones, like with the short sleeve, like the little V cut and like little short thing. Kylie can model it off.
Crop
I'm not
top.
sure. I'm not. I feel like a wet t-shirt competition coming on here.
Yeah, we're all the white t-shirts. Good. That's a good reminder. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Dean would like to see the photographic evidence of anyone that's in them.
Yeah.
Totally, and some nice snapbacks. Get some nice snapbacks. That would be good for summer.
So, guys, like Dean said to me, what was my first thought? And it kind of links into today's conversation. Like, I saw that certificate of incorporation and thought, this time last year, this wasn't even a thought. And a year later, here I am with like my 2 buddies, my 2 business partners, and I've got a company with them. And I was like, that's kind of mad how if you put your mind to something and you want it and you take action, that you can go out there and get it.
Absolutely. And we've always said, haven't we? So there's a like that. It's going to annoy me that. It's amazing the community, right? Because without that community, we would never have met. We would never have like done this Monday night drives that we always do. You know, we got the qualified coaches. It's from that really that things have really kicked on, but quick. I mean, very quick. I mean, you'd think we never met each other 7 months ago. And we've never met in person as well. That's another thing. I don't think our viewers and people know that we've never met in person. Like, so
I've never been able to give these 2 gorgeous lads a hug.
Yeah, I don't know how tall they are. I don't know. You know, they've got really bad habits, but I have no idea. Do you? Carly, what's your worst habit? Come on, get it out in the wash.
Oh, what's my worst habit?
That is a weird question. You don't have to answer. Don't answer. I know what I'm talking about. But seriously,
I can't think what my worst habit is. I've got so many. I probably am a bit neurotic in the house. I drive my mates mad with like how tidy I am and how things have to be in certain places. So that probably is something.
Neurotic, right? Because that would have been a disaster.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because I was saving the GIMP masks for when we met in person. I thought that'd be your style name. Nice way for us all to bond. Oh, this has gone downhill.
I wouldn't have used the word bond either, but again, it's more power to you.
Oh, well, in a former life. Anyway, yeah, so I'm a little bit OCD. That's probably right up there as one of my bad habits.
Okay. That's not too bad.
You haven't met me yet.
And James on the walk.
Here, I just changed my location. I'm outside in front of this huge climbing wall now. This is what's outside the hub. pretty awesome, hey?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it stopped raining, so now there's no music in the background. But one of my worst habits.
Mm-hmm.
One of my worst habits is being super critical of others. And I found this lately that it's like, for someone who likes to be like super carefree and just like go with the flow, I find myself being critical of those who are like closest to me. And I wouldn't have said this like even a couple weeks ago, but now I'm like finding that it's something that I do, and it's not a very, I don't know why I do it. So that is a habit that I just noticed I do now, but I've been doing it my entire life, and I think it's something that stems from when I was a kid and like a parental kind of thing, right? So to me, a habit is something that it's like we can choose to change if we want to. So now that I'm aware of this habit, I want to be as like, I want to be that person when people come to me, they feel comfortable not knowing and being able to ask questions and stuff. And it's funny because when I'm with people, when I'm instructing people kiteboarding or I meet new people, I am that person. I'm super easygoing. I make people like super like comfortable, like they want to be around me. But then as people get closer to me, I switch somehow. So this is a habit that I want to be that person that like you guys know me as, and like that I am to the people that are closest to me. If that makes sense, man. I don't even know how to like say that as a habit, but that's
Well, you've
that's
always been a safe space for me, Jamie.
and that's what I mean. I am. That's the weird thing, is like I am that person. I am that space. So why is, and basically what I'm talking is literally like with my girlfriend, with Lauren. I find like with her, it's so, there's just this standard there, and I'm like, I don't want that. I want her to be like comfortable and awesome, and like I want us to like do our thing together. So it's just, I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I want to change it. If that makes sense.
But is that because that's something that's so important to you? And like obviously your biggest relationship in your life, obviously, you know, your partner, and that so the expectation is so high that maybe it's more just about your like some of your expectations. Like
Yeah,
you just want the best.
totally. I think you're right. But the thing is, if I just stayed this person I am, everything would just happen and be natural, and it'd be super nice. And it's like almost like fighting for something makes it like harder, where it's like just going with the flow and being me and letting things happen is going to make those relationships that much stronger and that much better. So the habit I want to try and break, I guess, is like making things happen or forcing things to happen, when it's like my life is all about just going with the flow and letting things be. And yeah, that's what I want to do more of. And I feel like at this time, especially with like the move and the van and everything that's going on in my life, it's the perfect time to really just like take that deep breath and just relax and just like let things be and know that everything's going to kind of work out, because that's what I love to do.
And what about you, Mr. D? What's your bad habit?
Messy. I leave a trail of destruction and weight in my, yeah. So I leave a destruction in my wake, yeah. So I think, you know what? I've rarely met, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, someone who's super creative that's not messy. I think it comes with territory. I really do. I think it's just the way our brain, I'm not making excuses here because I do try. But yeah, I'm looking, there's things everywhere, but it's, oops, sorry, it's organized in my own weird way. So to others, it used to drive my mum nuts. But like my desk, I would know where things are, but it would be a mess. To the outside, to me, it looked quite cool. But yeah, that's one thing. One thing, and probably timekeeping. Yeah, I think I'm a little bit too optimistic with the time, and I just rushing around, and I think I've got more time and I don't, and then that puts more pressure on myself to arrive on time or to do something. Yeah, being on time was for someone else.
We should get that on a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got better. I've got much better. Yeah, and especially now, like clients and things like that, I have to be more responsible, and I'm far more organized and structured. Absolutely, and preparation as well is key. I never used to be prepared. I used to just wing it.
Yeah.
So,
Nice.
guys, if we think about the last year, where were you this time last year? What were you doing in your lives?
Last year, I had just gotten back from Mexico, and I was like trying to figure out what to do next, where I was going to go. I was at that point where it's like I didn't want to go back to being a millwright. I was at that I had enough point. And it's funny because like me going with the flow and letting things happen, I knew that I wanted to change. I didn't know what that change was be, where I was going to go, or what was going to be like, but I knew that something was going to happen. And sure enough, something's happening. So yeah, I was at that setup, had enough. I'm not going back. Everyone I talked to about I'm going to quit being a millwright, they all scoffed at me and laughed at me and said, "You can't do that. You're never going to do that. This is who you are. This is what you do." And it was at that point where the more they said that, the more I fought it. I'm that guy that like when you tell me I can't do something, I'm like, sure, I'm gonna. So that's where I was at.
You, Kylie?
Oh, last year. So June last year, I was in the middle of a breakdown. And at that point in time, I couldn't really see how life was going to turn itself about. I was very miserable and obviously low about numerous aspects of my life. Work and the direction that my life was going in was one of them. And at that point in time, this time last year, I didn't really have any thoughts other than really negative ones and really destructive ones of, this is it. I don't see this changing and I hate where I am. But I had no productive thoughts about, okay, well, what am I going to do about this? That didn't come till later. At this point in time last year, I was in a really negative, destructive place. And to think that a year later, I feel like a completely different person and that my life is on such a different trajectory seems just nuts. But I know it sounds really cheesy, and I know it's actually really sometimes hard to hear when you're in those dark places, but it's just that message again of that dark space doesn't have to stick. That dark space isn't going to be forever. There is life after that dark space. If you told me that this time last year, I would have like rolled my eyes at you. But it's just so true. And if you're in that space, it's a message to hold on to. Like things can change. Things will change. And you'll find your path.
Yeah. That's a powerful message as well, because I think when we're in that state, we get into this ideology that everything in this moment is permanent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna feel this way forever. I'm going to feel this low. I'm not going to get out of this. And then that in itself it's an anchor in itself, and a heavy one, because then you don't see a way out. You're so ingrained in thinking a certain way that the horizon is gone. It's just a black hole. It might be a little dot of light, but that horizon is completely gone. And another thing as well, you said cheesy, maybe others say cliche, but there's a reason why they're cliches, because it's been repeated enough times that it's going to resonate with someone. So yeah, I think that's super brave and super bold that you can share that.
What about
Because
you, Dean?
there'll be someone out there going through that right now. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you want to reach out to one of us, please do.
Please. Yeah,
Yeah.
drop us a comment in. I know it's probably not easy to do, but if you've got some feelings that are not so great at the moment, drop us a comment in the messages or private message us. And
Mm, yeah, it's important. Don't suffer
Totally.
in
And,
silence.
and
Uh,
remember, though, remember this too shall pass.
yeah.
Whether, no matter what point you're at in your life, whether you're on the highest high of your life or the lowest low, it will pass and something else is coming. And
Mm,
that might give you that glimmer of, yeah, okay, it will pass.
yeah. No, that's very true. Where was I?
yeah,
So we by this time last year. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we'd come out of lockdown. Had one of the strictest ones in Spain. Kids couldn't leave the house. I say house, couldn't leave the flat for 6, 7 weeks. It was pretty crazy. And yeah, I was working on a job that I didn't really want to be there. I was kind of lost. I was going through different transitions with like relationships and things like that. And at this time last year, things were good because it was my birthday and I was on like a high from that. It was a very good like gathering, and I was there was like this. It felt like the weight of the world lifted here after the lockdown, because we kind of went back to a kind of normal ish. We could go to the pub, we can do that, and I remember that you guys in the UK couldn't. So I was feeling very like lucky and fortunate. Um, but yeah, this was the beginning of not a dark period, but a time when I went downhill very quickly. Yeah. So I would have not seen this coming, but the warning signs, the warning light was on. I was just ignoring it and maybe focusing on my external world at that moment in time a year ago, rather than the internal world that was slowly crumbling.
heavy.
Heavy.
Yeah.
But I think between the three of us, we probably felt that this time last year was a heavy place. Maybe a little bit before for Jamie.
Mm.
But
Yeah.
so thinking about that and like where you've come in the last year, like where you're sitting right now and the vision that you've got for your future, what kind of shifts, both potentially mindset, mentally, and in terms of, I guess, physically and taking action, what types of shifts have you made, or have you been making last year?
I think myself, I've been relying on that strength I always talk about, with just like knowing that things are going to change. I'm always that person that when an opportunity comes to me, I take it and I seize it. And people, I always get frustrated because people say the word lucky to me a lot. They're like, "You're so lucky, you're so lucky," and it's like I get so sick and tired of hearing that, because I'm like, every single person I meet, they have opportunities come to them every day and they let it pass. The thing is, like, sometimes I'll take an opportunity and I'll go do it and I'll get ridiculed for it, and people tell me I can't do it or shouldn't do it or whatever. But that doesn't change, because every time I've gotten to where I am in life, it's because an opportunity came to me. I took it. Lots of those opportunities didn't work out right. Lots of those opportunities, I fell flat on my face. And that's okay, because I am okay with failing. And I sometimes I'll make a decision even knowing that it's going to fail, but the lesson that I'm going to learn or experience through it is worth the failure. So that's kind of how this outcome came from. It's like I am leaving what I'm comfortable with, going into something I don't know. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't have a plan, but it's going to change. I'm going to change and I'm going to get somewhere. And lo and behold, I'm somewhere. And now there's new opportunities that are coming up. There's new things that are happening. And I'm just going to keep on being that way, because that is my strength. Just saying yes and being open to all this stuff. So that's kind of, it was more of an unconscious decision, because that's just how I live. But thinking back on it, that's just kind of like what got me to where I am right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of powerful stuff there, Jamie. There's some actual real golden nuggets. That potential risk taking, but like calculated risks. You know, you're not just necessarily jumping into things without completely looking at it, but you know how to take a calculated risk. And that whole failure thing, you know, I'm going to learn from this. Like I'm going to learn from that and make those learnings my success, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful.
I think that's what sets people apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole
No.
and everyone's risk tolerance is going to be different. Like I am very high on the risk level. Like I enjoy taking risk. I do take risks. Other people aren't going to have that tolerance. Other people are going to need to do things more calculated. But that's the thing, is like, just because this is the way I do things, that doesn't, there's so many different ways to get to like a next level, or like your next step in life, or to make a change. It doesn't have to be throw caution to the wind and just do it. It can be calculated. There's so many different ways to, like, make a change in your life.
And you, Kylie?
For me, it was, I think, some small like mindset shifts to start with. I had to get out of that this is it mentality, because I was stuck in that for months, and I had to finally start to realize that, of course, this is not it. I just need to do something about it. So there was that shift. Took probably much longer than it should have done. Although we're all on our different journeys and our different paths, so things work for different timelines for different people. But I got there eventually. Like that, I think for me, the biggest shift in that direction was taking accountability. Instead of sitting there and saying, "This is it. Well, I'm miserable. This is it. Game over." I had to step up and take accountability and be like, "Hang on. Of course, this is not it. But I need to take responsibility and accountability for my happiness and the direction my life's going in. Like, I'm the only person that can change this. I'm the only person that's got that power. So darn well use it." So that accountability was huge for me. And then I think from there, then actually taking the time and the space to work out what I want, what was really important to me, working out what my sort of vision was. It might have not been crystal clear, but I had an idea of things that I knew that were important. So I wanted to incorporate them going forward. And then taking the action. Like, once I realized that actually making a difference in whatever way that I could, making my impact, my bit of good on the world, was super important to me. And it was the thing that motivated me and was my purpose. And the communication, like, I know it sounds really silly, but like, that's huge to me. Like, if I was in a job or an industry where I couldn't be amongst people and talking to people, which I have been for the last few years, it had a really huge impact on how I felt and how much enjoyment I got out of the day. So once I'd put those two elements together and realized, okay, this might seem really obvious, but these are super important to me. So how do I incorporate this into my day-to-day life, and what sort of industries would allow me to do this, and what would I be interested in? Once I'd figured that out, and then figured out there's courses out there and I can go retrain, and whether I have to do this in the evening and spend a few years on it, or whether I can do this intensely, whatever the situation is, that's okay. That timeline, it's all worth it. Because I'd also very much had a mentality of, well, I've done uni, I'm not retraining, I'm not spending more time and energy on that area of my life. Like, I've got my degree, and it's just like, well, what a fixed mindset that was. That's not going to help me. So that actually, whether it takes 2 years or 6 months or 5 years, whatever it is, but it was worth it if at the end of the day I was going to get the thing that was going to give me joy and happiness and my sense of freedom out of it. So there was a few things that kind of all added up to sort of taking some action.
Yeah, I feel that I can relate a lot to that. I resonate a lot to that. I feel with me, I was just completely lost, to be honest. I was completely lost. For me, I always had not the escape, but I always had the option of traveling. And I was never in a place longer than, I don't know, let's say travel wise, 4 or 5 months. I was always on the move, always on the move. And then Corona hit. And even though I was talking about, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna complete my dream of traveling 100 countries, that option was taken away, from me. And I was just a bit like, I was comfortable in the safe space. I didn't enjoy what I was doing, but I felt like at this moment in time, it's better. I'm going to stick instead of twisting. I'm just going to stick, I could roll a dice and I could get a 6. I'm currently on a 3, but I could get a 6. But I could roll it and I could get a 1. So I was in that mindset, that mentality. And interesting enough for me, I felt like I was losing who I was. And I think travel is such a big part of my life, and it's created who you see before you. And I felt that I was somehow not that same person anymore, that I become like, I was in the yachting industry, which I'll be honest with you, I don't really relate to at all. I don't fit the criteria. I don't fit the mindset. I don't fit that kind of structure. There's a lot of things that it's not a good fit. It's a marriage made in hell, if I'm being honest, for them as well, I'm not just saying about me, but for them, I don't think I'm moldable when I want to be, but when I'm not, I'm a nightmare. I'm terrible, and I can admit that. So there was a part of me that was chasing this old version of myself. I wanted to be Dean the Traveller at 25, who, was fearless and would go off and do whatever he wanted. That was like this lone wolf, this individual mind that turned his back to the crowd, And I felt that I was losing that. I didn't recognize that person staring back at me. It was like an old, worn-out version of that self, which is true. I've changed. I've moved on. So that identity shift, I was trying to go back to someone I was, which was always going to be impossible. But I had this almost nostalgia. Like that version of me was more fun, was more interesting, was more entertaining, was better with women, blah, 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 right? And it's weird. It's weird me saying that right now because I've changed. So that was one part. The identity was shifting big time. And the second part was similar to you, Kylie, was the accountability. I was saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to get out of the yachting industry. I'm going to do this, which, by the way, would have happened. My old self, I was like, look, I'm not liking this. I'm going to get on my bike and travel to China or whatever, right? But this time, it wasn't like that. My words had no substance. It was style over substance. And I felt that my words weren't carrying any weight at all. They were just empty pieces of air. They were nothing. And the more I said it, the more I tried to convince myself, no, this is how I feel. This is the truth. This is how I feel. And this is what's going to happen. And as the time went on, that was just eroding away the trust in myself and others, because I was saying all these things that just weren't happening. I was saying, next month, mañana, and it wasn't happening. So accountability, and I think for me was that moment where I went to the boat. I was in a bit of a lonely place, a bad place, and I remember like hitting the snooze. I would hit the snooze button about 8 times a day, Like having a shower was hard work. Doing my laundry was a mission. And yeah, I remember, and the writing was on the wall, but I just swirling round and round and round. And then someone said to me at work that I had lost my shine. And although delicate and very subtle, that really shook me, because then I realized that other people were watching me just fall apart, really. Not even fall apart, but it wasn't that extreme, but they just saw deterioration. And that for me was the moment that's like, I've got to buck my ideas up. I have to take back control of the situation and take back control of my life and work on the internal world instead of looking to leave, this place, this country, and go somewhere else, because I was just going to carry it with me. So that was a massive moment for me, because everything else was an external fix and an external destination, a place. And this time I was more, inverted into myself, and I really analyzed and started to question and challenge my beliefs, my values, and the course I was on. Because if I didn't change course, I was just going to be more and more miserable, and wouldn't help anyone.
So, after evaluating both of your experiences and what you've been through, and the types of actions and the types of thoughts that you've had to have, if you could pass just a golden nugget onto someone else, that, where we were last year, as I say, a little bit further back for Jamie, but J-Dog, where would you start? Someone said to you, what kind of shifts do I need to make in order to follow my dream and follow my passion, follow my vision, and get out of where I am at the moment? Can't hear you.
The biggest thing that got me through where I was at was finding a mentor, finding a group. And it was funny because it was just online. The funny thing is, I found when I was in a certain place, whenever I looked online, it was just like being bombarded with all this different stuff. And then finally I found this one ad and like met this one guy, and it just really resonated with me. And it was because of like that content and stuff that really I connected with, that got me like through, and believing that I'm like, okay, I can do this. I can do something else. All these other people are doing this. And then through that, I found TCM, and I found you guys and stuff. So for me, it was finding a community. It was getting away from my millwright world, my industrial mechanic life, and all these people I didn't resonate with, and going out and searching and finding the people that I did. And that for me was really what did it. So finding community, finding your tribe, finding the people that resonate with you, and being open to it, because there's so many times that I talk to people and they're just like so closed-minded, and they think that everything online is a scam, and everything they're just trying to get you. And it's like, this is just the way we communicate now in 2021. It's online. People are just trying to connect, open up, and just have those conversations sometimes, and see who you can meet, and see you never know who you can find and where they are in the world right now. So that's what did it.
I mean, look at us. As Dean said, we've never met. We're in 3 different countries, but yet you're 2 of the most important, closest people to me in my life now. Mm-hmm. I have a business with you, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was the thing, just being open, and just finding you guys, really being open to finding you guys. That's what it was about. So that's the nugget I'd give people, is just open up. And that's hard to say, because some people are in a scenario where they've been hurt by others. Some people are in scenarios right now that are like that, and I can imagine how hard it is to open up and trust and all that stuff again. It's such a delicate thing, but there are people out there that truly want to help, and there are good people out there that just want to help others. And we found so many in the community where we were in. There were so many golden, lovely gems of humans that you could just feel it, that they were good people. And we're out there. We're out here. So that's it. That's what I have to say.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's it.
You slightly melted me over here, J-Dog.
Well, that's good. I still got the charm then. I still got it.
What about you, Mr. D? What would you do?
Similar.
What would you say? Sorry.
Similar lines to Jane. For me, I'm a very internal person. Don't really speak out. Don't really talk about what's going on. And that was a classic Dean. You know, that spiral was me trying to take it all myself. You know, like I was myself around a boardroom table, and I'm trying to deal with all my internal, bits of my plate. And I think for me was to reach out and talk to someone, and talk to people, and be vulnerable to those. And vulnerability equals relatability, because people will have something on their mind, or something that they're going through, or something that they feel that they can open up to. So yeah, I think finding a tribe is part of that. I would also say mentor. Jamie touched on this. Finding someone that's in your space, that you resonate with, who's on a path that you would like to kind of weave close by to, because everyone's on their different path. But I feel that that's pretty cool to have a role model, or a teacher, or a mentor, or someone who's doing something similar that you resonate with, and you feel, wow, this guy or this woman is an inspiration. And if you can kind of just look at what they're doing, and connect with them if you can, and just follow their lead in a sense. But just kind of surround yourself by the people that you want to be around, and find the things you love to do. There's nothing worse than doing something that you can't stand. That's not going to bring you success.
Dean, touching on that, man, that a big thing for me too was finding someone that was close to where I was in life, like a mentor that wasn't like Tony Robbins, or somebody that was so extremely beyond where I was going to be, somebody that was just to the next level. That was a huge thing.
Yeah, because you're not going to relate to Tony, Big Tone, but he's he's 40 years in front, so it makes some of that golf quite difficult, that bridge to gap. Yeah, absolutely. Someone that's maybe 6 months, a year in front of you, and then you can possibly have another mentor that's maybe a bit ahead of that, But I agree with that, because otherwise you're just going to get like disillusioned. Overwhelmed.
I just want to say hello to some of our viewers. I can see Ghazal has commented. Thanks, Gaz.
Wow.
Anil, thank you. And Troy's watching us from Portland.
From Portland.
And says that he's live. So thanks, Troy. Lovely for you to be here and to join us. And guys, if you've got any comments, drop in them in the box as we go along, so that we can make this as interactive as possible. But for me, I actually, there were several moments that I would recommend to someone. I mean, as I say, that accountability, taking responsibility, it sounds a bit brutal when you're in a dark moment, but it's that recognition of this can change, but I've got to change it. No one's coming in to save me from sitting on the sofa and watching Netflix after my 9 to 5's done my head in all day, and I've had to get on a tube and do a commute that I hate and takes hours of. No one's coming in to save you from that. You've got to save yourself. So as brutal as that sounds in a low point, and I can assure you, I understand that when you're in that moment, you don't want to hear it, because and so many people said it to me last year, and it took time for the words to finally start to resonate and to kick in. But the other thing was once I was there and I'd got to that point of, all right, I'm going to do something about this, I'm going to make this change, was that I found a course that I wanted to do. And I'm not saying that people have to go out there and retrain and do courses. It's an option. But being on that course and having to check in a couple of times a week, that I had something that I was spending my energy and my time doing that was productive and positive and putting me that little step closer towards where I wanted to be, and I had that purpose and something to get up and work for each day, made a huge difference. It literally made getting out of bed that little bit easier, and it put a smile on my face because there was something I wanted to do, and I knew that it was going towards a bigger dream, and that helped enormously. If I hadn't have done, and as I say, I'm not saying that anyone has to do a course, but I'm saying for me, finding that bit of purpose, which did turn out to be a course, that was the huge turning point of, this is so much bigger than me. Once I start to put this into practice, that it's not just about me, it's about who I can then impact and the difference that I can make on people's lives. And those thoughts just all of a sudden made it all worth it. And it was like, whatever risks were down the road, it's fine. I'm gonna take them, because look what I'm gonna gain. So a little bit of action and a little bit of accountability. And they sound really hard when you're in a low, dark place, but it's the brutal truth.
Yeah, but touching upon what you said it's not what you wanted to hear.
It wasn't. No.
It's what you needed to hear.
It's what I needed to hear, yeah.
And that's a tough conversation. That's a tough conversation right there. And it takes accountability for someone else to say that. So it's like a two-way accountability.
And
they
I
take
think
responsibility as well.
Totally. I think that's a huge skill too, to the person that's giving that message to someone. This is why sometimes hearing these things from friends isn't the right way to do it, because when you don't want to hear something, there is a certain way it can be said, or from a certain people, where it'll finally click, it'll finally resonate, it'll finally happen. So that's another thing too. It's like, the more people you hear from, the more people you communicate with, and the more people you connect with, you'll finally find that person that really understands you, feel that they understand you too. And I feel like that's a huge stepping point to moving forward. Because I experienced that with the whole friends telling me what to do thing, and it just wasn't ever gonna work. You know what I mean? You should. I'm like, stop shitting on me. And
but the thing is with those, you should do this, you should do that, you shouldn't do this. They're not questions, are they? They're statements.
No. Mm-hmm.
So already
Exactly.
you're getting a yes or no answer, or you're going to be defensive. So rather than say that and say like, this worked for me, maybe try this, is a lot different from me going, you've got to do this.
Yeah.
Or me saying, or just asking a question like,
exactly, like, what do you need right now?
What do you need right now? Or what are you, so when you're focusing on this issue, what are you not seeing? I mean, that is a coaching question. When you're focusing on this, what are you not seeing? And you're getting them to look at the situation from maybe your point of view, which is going to be far more powerful when it lands and it comes from them. They believe it comes from them, because it does. Mm-hmm. You're just guiding people. That's all you can do.
Totally.
That was some power. So, should we wrap it up, guys? But do we have any final last wants, demands, requests from our lovely viewers?
Did you see Troy there made another comment about self-manifestation? I think that was really brilliant.
And he's just put up another one too. Thank you, Troy. You're the type of viewer we love.
That's right.
Nice one. Self-taught decision to act, to make a choice, free will. I think we can't see all the comment, can we? I think that continues, but yeah, nice one, Troy. Awesome. And it's just repeated. Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
Awesome.
nice. Get involved. Yeah. So yeah, I think we should say that there's something exciting coming down the track. We can't talk about it just yet, but
like not just like exciting, but like superhuman, unnatural exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
Game changer.
Dean and Jamie's obsession with Star Wars exciting.
Oh, yes.
Star Trek.
Star Trek, Kylie.
Star Trek. It's got one of them. Look, the boys need to educate me.
We will.
Yeah.
You will be educated. Yeah, but so stay tuned here pretty much. Check this out. Also, if you guys want to catch us on, we have a podcast too that's available on Spotify and all that stuff. If you'd rather just, I don't know who wouldn't want to see these lovely faces, but if you'd rather just hear our amazing voices, then go check us out on Spotify, Anchor, Apple, all that good stuff. And share this with your friends and stuff. If anybody, think could hear these messages or wants to get in a conversation with us or touch base with us, we love talking, hanging out with people and sharing and sharing our personal experiences too, where all three of us have very different unique experiences. And if you're at one of these places where you just want to talk to someone that might understand, feel free to reach out. Please do, because we'd love to connect with you.
We're all ears. We're here.
Yeah, for sure. Sweet. Okay, guys.
All right, guys.
On that
Have
note,
a lovely Monday evening, everyone, wherever you are.
Wherever you are.
See you next week, guys.
Love.
Bye.
Adios.